This is part 3 of the installment. It's going to be a lot of videos here, but I'm only on page 37 now. 250 to go. What I'm doing is I'm recording for this through my editing so everybody understands what I've done with the text or I did with forms. And I have a story. It's a story where a scribe read to the king 3 or 4 columns. And what you're seeing is this column here now. And what you're seeing here is a 3-verse format. Uh, but I needed to add things like this. Raise your stick. I needed to make sure it was a walking stick that Moses is using. I'm trying to put the final edits on it here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be editing any more text later as far as, okay, I'm supposed to do my video now, so it's easy to understand. Here I'm changing listen to obey, and the yellow is that it's a different word, but I didn't feel that it needed to be in gray text. The intent of the verses and everything else that I've edited would be you're not just to listen to our Creator, you're supposed to obey Him. So, then if I can save my hand a little bit, and that's good. Scrolling toward house to home. Why I'm doing this is because a house I've got more of an elaborate setup, meaning you have many servants where home is just a regular small home with, you and the family, but not with servants. So it's just a way to understand when you're reading. It'll come about easier to understand what I'm doing to control the words to mean certain things and to differentiate the meaning that's found within the text. Okay, move group up here. So this is going to come from a text that I haven't done yet. Right there is where I got it, and I moved it up. What I did was, this is, like I said, I'm sticking all the books together. You can see I'm in Exodus right now, just did Genesis, but there's going to start being other books that are going to come into play here. These dates and times, like I said, needed to be adjusted because of what I read. And then putting them together, they make more sense when I'm putting in the new numbers. Set out is still like going, so it's in green text. I'm not really changing much of the intent of the word. And here, what I'm saying is this here just needs to be taken out. The new, the only thing is this would mean that they were eating the quail that day, later that evening. So by noon, they could go out and collect the quails. Elders to leaders, they started having leaders. Because within the family, you had the elder, which would have been like the of that family lineage of all brothers still uh, connected with their families. There's still going to be the eldest or the one that's appointed as the elder. And then below them, there's going to be leaders. There's going to be multiples of leaders. I moved that group up right here. Usually I try to put these together like this so they're a little easier to spot. And like I said, this is still going to have to be um, just as a research tool for later. This had too many words in the word there, and nothing gets enough of the the verse. I didn't need cakes, even though you can see I added that text. I now removed it. Uh, wasn't ever the seventh day. That was the first day of the week is the holiest because our Creator set it up as the first day of the year is the Passover, which is the meal, or the meal that's ate after sunset. But when the sun came up for the daylight, that was considered the day, and that was the first day of the year that was to be holy. So all days that are marked seventh, now it's the first day is holy. I changed this text out to this. Uh, well, I think it's pretty easy to understand why I did that. Yeah, moving this up. So two groups up. Okay, yes, and then what I said above. Says notes for me to figure out later what I was doing and wanted to put in different things. This is going to be a note that is missing because um, he does start describing what this is in detail. So he would have done probably went over each one of them. All that text is lost. It's not being cut off, it's cast out. And I realized that's a cast out was to mean get rid of them out of the nation of Israel. And that was held true for hundreds of years. Tied to a name than just say somebody. Um, and it's because these are the ones that are going to get killed, is because when you look at the nations or the tribes for the nation, Benjamin is awfully small. So something had to happen to create that smallness. And this is where the only text that would be, it should be mentioned how they lost the size of their people. It turns into tablets. I had it in stone, but I guess the shape of it, I put it back into tablets. I think it started out with tablets as well. Just putting it back in. Just to be explained. And this is where I'm going to use the word curse because it's something that's going to be against our Creator, and that's do not curse or curse me or my name in vain. Lincoln, I'm still edited. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. In the last video, I mentioned about um, the feed to, and I changed it to say I'm getting rid of the feed and putting in the grain sacks. When I looked at that's going to be part of the text that I lost because it seems like I had fixed that in the new text, but I hadn't gone back and corrected it. A lot of stuff that's you might find that's different. That's the problem I had when I lost that one hard drive. Um, and that one hard drive probably had maybe a month's work, which is a lot. I do this every day, so. But I have to mention it, but I'm not going to go back and I can't go back and find it. Oh, there was 2 verses missing here, so I added them, and I felt that this was um, best words to put here. A lot of this comes when I'm adding words like that, those 2 verses. That comes from just my knowledge of knowing a lot about the text and understanding the how they uh, or how they're trying to write taken over by the enemy. Something like this, I'm changing just because words like this, I don't want 12-year-olds to go looking up. I'm trying to make the text easy enough for them to read and understand. So even though we have a lot of words that we could use today's vocabulary for a lot of this, I tried to make it simple because um, even an 8th grader should be able to read some of this. So, but I don't know if that's 12 years old. I'm too old. I don't have that knowledge of what age at what uh, grade in school. This was a name that I'm going to be checking on. I think I settled on that name, but I knew that it was listed and I don't want to research for it. So that was just probably my notes to me later. Win to again, but it was still a word that I added. But when you put it together, because this is like Exodus 25, and I don't think this is, yeah, number 16 to, and I had to tie it together. So that was just how it needed to be done. These are just numbers that I'm working with to figure out if these are exactly what's needed later. Well, maybe I should just get rid of it. I don't think many people are going to see this video, but these were the places I needed to figure out if that was too long, too big. Wood to planks. Planks were what came off and planks are a better word than wood because they come from the carts that they carried the stone on. So here, this is making sure that all the wood that's being used are known as planks. They're already shaped. They just need to be cut down. Okay, I moved this down here, and then I added it. Needed this, got rid of this here. Need handles for this a mercy seat to be held. So that was missing. See, this is where I had to put like half blanks. Like I said, it had to be cut up to be actually reasonable that um, you can't have something 10 foot long as for a table. That's not quite, or whatever this is being built. It just needed, because I added this word here, cart blank, which would have been the carts they were driving, or walked up and left. This was the best guess for these words here, because when I was realizing this text, this is what's missing. So I thought this would be the best place to stick it. Just happens to be missing, and hopefully it's what should have been there. Border, pretty much an edge. Uh, Springs, yeah, gold was been too soft. A large bowl. And I don't know if at David's time they actually put two bowls in or one. Uh, and that would have been to represent the two nations later. But when the tent was being built, I'm thinking one. So that's one question that you're going to see later in the text where I have two of these bowls. Uh, so still not, not done till I'm dead with the text. So yeah, this was to shed light. Well, it's kind of like reflect the light. And this, um, see, it says lamp shields here attached to the cups. It had to be something added to the cups because this light is to fill the room up. And with the reflector, it's not wasting light to the back. It's bouncing it out more. Uh, Photographer, they still call them light bouncers, or bouncers, I believe. Reflectors. Again, I put in three words that are three verses that it just needs there to kind of explain what's going on. Now, what's going to be important is the word south, and later the word south does appear, so that's why I'm using the word south. Um, Again, added three more here. Seemed I moving these groups back and forth. This one going up. I don't know where it says, but these are sometimes like search because that's a pretty far distance and they're not within the page. So put those in because I realized the U-hooks didn't have what kind of material they were using. Thinking bronze would have been stronger one, and being able to be remade. Yeah, I made the ones under silver top were together. I still don't know if I should put silver here. I was trying to tell you there's a lot of things in my head that I was trying to put them in. It made sense at that time. So it might get changed later. Uh, two centers. I think this is to so put together. So changing of the numbers. I mean, it's about the number changes. So we're in the wrong place. Because those- So they need to be tied together. And I didn't need, and I put this verse up here. So all this needed to be put in text. It was just missing. I guess until you break it down, start figuring out what needs to be there, you'll get one. We're missing the 12 altars. Uh, supposed to be on front. So there's a lot of new editing edits that needed to be put in. The screen would go with this screen, so here. I was just wondering if my mic was working. You can start seeing I moved quite a bit of text around, um, especially when you start getting different books thrown together. It really did take me a long time to get through this. Uh, Even though I've done the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, um, even that, when I put that out, I'm not going to show you all the newer updates. Um, say like this is the last editing. I did those like uh, over 2 years ago, and I couldn't find the latest edits that I done to say that what I've got, how I got there. So there's going to be a lot of complete verses gone that say I'm not going to tell why. I guess if you do find the old one, I will have the old one that I've got posted right now. But that you're going to have to compare to this one, and then somebody else can highlight what I removed, and I've got my reasons for removing them, especially why I removed and moved the words around, and that's right around when Jesus is being, after he's been turned over to Pilate, or yeah, Pontius, um, after had to describe this, these stones needed to have stone plates and engraved with names on it. I didn't know how to put stone tablets were what I'm using for the commandments. Plates, these are going to be thinner. Just as I really did a lot of adding text to make sure that everything is here. to be accounted for that was completely missing from the text. They didn't think it was important, but myself, I got to make sure that I'm as truthful as possible because I want to do my best for our creator that he's happy with what I'm doing. Because I'm sure that this is what's going to be used for the future. Uh, all this you can see that I've added. Um, forgive, because that's not in the text or the book itself. Hey, let's go. Skip text that I'm going to get rid of. I just made it 8 point that it's just not needed, even though I've put a lot of text in there. I just figured, hey, um, this is just not needed, like a redundancy of things. Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot later. It was when constructing the tent for meeting with our creator that is where all this is really heavily my input. The bow is with like from your waist, or you can kneel and then bow your head. So I thought kneel would be the best to do here. Uh, and it wouldn't have been both knees, but that's why I don't knelt. It's kneel. Yeah, this was notes for me. I think I'm going to go through and get a lot of stuff. The, so that was to help me place the text here. So you'll see that note on in on Leviticus. Like I'm like, okay, this I know is going to go in the Sinai. So when I'm putting these together, it was really hard to say what was the most important words in there to locate the text. And sometimes it was obvious, and in other times that was the struggle. Where do I put it? This is a big change here because I've been using the word hooks for maybe 20 years, maybe more. Um, these muscles that are brought on these stands, do they just have hooks out there? The meat just, or the muscles that are cut up, they need to burn as fast as possible. So what I needed was a grill to go across that made it wide open and it made it so the flames could really burn it fast. So that was my note for this discussion. Text again, didn't need no more. Let's see, okay, that was already, all this stuff I've already gone over, and then here's a group that I moved up. 5 count for changing a month. I think I'm gonna make notes somewhere that kind of explain their calendar worked the best of my knowledge. Okay. So I think I did go with 5 count here, and I'm not sure if it was actually a second. I might have just fixed that later, or I've got it still. I don't know, because there's going to be some of those left in the final book. This is saying it's a double, so it's out. You see, this would have been the first day, but it's actually the 8th day. Um, and this would have been found when Abraham was told uh, how circumcision was supposed to happen. It wouldn't have been the birth date of the child or the son. Getting into doodle. Decided to eat the green, that only. This needed another verse to go with what was going on. And I thought that this punishment with beaten with a rod was in other texts, so I put that here because there's no death penalty here for this, so there has to be a punishment. But this is going to start all these. See, many groups are missing, but it's because I only have small pieces of a lot of the laws that they did right. Cause of the death. So as I got that wrong. So death needs to be replaced. Yeah, that's because they've killed somebody. That's what it says about willingness, but our Creator's given them permission to go kill them here. So that because it's part of the commandments, I needed to make sure that people understood that they still had to make their offering. No, it's the seventh before the seventh year. Just wanted to put it again down here. It's the 10th day before the seventh year starts. They're supposed to blow their horns and announce this year of redemption. It's redemption. Money got changed to silver until Jesus's time. I'm going to use the word money. Uh, they did work with pieces of silver. So whatever you see them making shekels or whatever, that would have had to been later, not at this time. And I don't even use that word in the text. Holy the righteous, holy as for like Jesus, who is the highest male that was obedient to our Creator. He is the Holy One. That it's going to say my holy servant. So can't use that word anyplace else. Needs to be righteous. Defames to dishonor. They just need to. You have to define the difference between a pure virgin and a virgin. So, uh, then release their seed because down here, uh, if you release your seed, then they're going to have blood show up on her sleeping bed, but to prove that she's has not done this, I needed the word pure. I got it as written as a double. And I needed the word diviner here because the way the text um, uh, it- so if she becomes a diviner, uh, with like all those crystals and rocks, I can see that um, they they're using it the same thing as to try to divine with is the way I'm looking at the word divine. This would be a word that might be changed later. Is what I'm doing. So I'm working 6, 7 hours a day on the text. I just try to do my best, and then like I read it again, it's cleaned up. And because I've got so much that I'm saying, okay, everything's falling in order. Okay, this word sounds a little bit different. And then I got to think of all the text that I've edited. Is that the best word for that at that time? So add the word just to make it the verses, 2 words per verse. Change the numbers without knowing all these other stories in between took place. And these verses and they're 2 words. I think they got the 2. That was probably something I wouldn't actually show if I'd done it. But when you do a dreamer thing, it looks like I might have missed that text up here. Forgive. See, this is where it needed to be pardoned. Forgive is going to be a little bit different. It's going to forgive you for the sins. So, didn't make a note why I'm throwing that out, so I can't remember what I done. This would be 3 months ago at least. Getting rid of the vineyard so everybody didn't have needed to add a third, second word here. You know what? This editing that you're seeing here, I've actually done the book, put it together, put all the editing there, went through the book again, and then put all the editing there or back. So this is like the second actually editings of the book that you're seeing of the text. So uh, that's why I'm having a little hard time remembering some of these or what I've done or what I didn't do. We spend a lot of reading, editing, but it's the most important part because the books are finally getting put together. Teach to taught laws, I thought they were commands. Laws were just too specific at this point. The 40-minute mark here. So I'm going to find a place here to stop the text. Only to unless. Oh, yeah, need it. Only this is a better statement. And then start where it's their text that I don't have to, okay. I'll stop here with this one. And then I will be back. Got to 63, so that was pretty good. Because the first two today, I thought I was going to end up with about 30 of these small videos at 40 minutes. So